Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Colonel Jim Engstrand, and I'm running for U.S. Congress. I'm a combat veteran. I am a constitutional Christian conservative Republican. I ran the first time 2 years ago. A little bit about myself. I was born on a dairy farm, and at a very young age I joined the military. I was an infantry soldier, and then I got a commission in the infantry, and then a couple years later I was commissioned into the Medical Service Corps, and that's kind of where I came to Texas, because all the military training for the U.S. Army for medical is down here. And back in 2009 and 10, I had the great opportunity to serve with your sons and daughters and friends and neighbors in Iraq. And I saw from Iraq where our president was reducing our rules of engagement to the point that our soldiers could not lethally engage the enemy. And I saw back here in Texas, he was doing this same thing to his political adversaries. Right here in Texas, he's imposed many regulatory measures that have stunted the growth of the business. He has a direct, he's directly against fossil fuel. He talks about how he, during his administration, has expanded the petrochemical industry under his watch. But if you look at how he's regulated the petrochemical industry, he has indeed stunted it. The only thing that's kept us growing is private lands, private drilling, and of course West Texas and in the Dakotas. I mean to stop that, and I want to be able to go to Washington and provide a voice for our constitutional Christian liberties, and I believe I am the candidate that most comprehensively represents the district. I have over 10 years of national disaster medical response, where I have served here in Fort Sam as the director of the National Disaster Medical System. And I look forward to
the first few questions are actually a series of yes, no, or one-word response type questions. The questions will be at a fast pace, so there is no timer on these questions. What is your marital status?
I am divorced.
Have you ran for public office before?
Yes, I have.
If so, which office?
U.S. Congress, District 36.
Have you ran for Congress before?
Yes, I have.
If elected, where will your primary district office be located?
We will have 3
How many times have you attended
offices.
hearings in Washington, D.C.?
I have not attended hearings in Washington, D.C. I served on the
Do
Bush
you favor an
administration.
increase in the minimum wage?
I do not.
That was the last of the quick response questions. Question number 2, a 30-second response. Should a representative be required to actually live in the district a certain period of time prior to running for that office?
I am a constitutional believer, and in the Constitution for U.S. Congress, it does not require that. We do have members currently who are running for this office that do not live in the district. I do. I moved here back in 2011, so I am relatively new to Texas in terms of being a resident. But I am a proud Texan, and believe that if you've lived around this world, you understand that Texas knows what liberty and freedom is, and I'm proud to be here. So.
Question number 3, a 30-second response. Will you support a constitutional amendment to require that laws apply equally to citizens and members of Congress?
Absolutely. Congressional members are no different. We work for you. We should live under those laws. As you've seen, we have a president that's not much different than third world dictators, who lives above the law and decides to change it with his edicts. I have a pen and I have a phone. Well, I'm sorry, we have laws, and those laws should be something that all of us live under. So.
Question number 4, a 30-second response. Have you read your party's platform, and do you support it?
I have read it and I do support it.
Question number 5, a 1-minute response. What is your overall thought on the Department of Homeland Security?
I obviously believe that we do need a secure national nation, and I do not think, though, that Homeland Security was the right answer. It expanded the government, As you can see now, we've got the NSA and other entities looking into our phone calls, checking out our emails. It needs to be reeled back in. I do believe that those items of security, a lot of them can be handled quite well at the state level. I do believe, though, that we do need a strong military. Being a member of the military, I have seen nothing but this administration cutting that. And if we do not have a strong national defense in terms of our military, our enemies feel empowered. We see it right now with Iran going ahead with the nuclear program. They think we're a joke, and they think we're weak. That's where we need to be applying more of our time and our effort and our money. It's part of the Constitution. It's one of the few things at the federal level that we should have.
Question number 6, a 30-second response. What role should the Department of Homeland Security have as it relates to cybersecurity?
Well, I believe that they haven't really done a good job of that in the time that they've been, in existence. But it is important for cybersecurity. As you're seeing, the Russians and other evil empires that are out there are able to hack in and do a lot of damage. It's one of those things that I do think that there should be some federal involvement in. And I think we need to look at home here first and see if we're safe. You've seen this administration can't even have the health care bill.
Question number 7, a 30-second response. What are your thoughts of having drones watching our borders and citizens? And should local law enforcement be allowed to utilize drones without probable cause?
I do not believe we should be using drones, but I do believe we should arm our border patrols, and they should be able to shoot to kill when we have drug incursions. We do need to build the wall. We don't need drones flying around spying on you and I. I think we as American citizens are law-abiding, and that should be handled by traditional security, police and other means, not drones. I think drones are something that provide an opportunity for them to continue to dig deeper into our lives, so I don't believe them.
Question number 8, a 30-second response. What are your thoughts on the war on drugs?
I do not believe that the war on drugs has worked, and I think some of it is because we don't have a secure border. And I believe what we need to do is, like I said, we've already paid for a fence on our southern border. We need to build the fence. We need to empower our border patrol to catch these drug cartels that are bringing these poisons across the border. And we need to be serious about it. When I say that we need to lethally arm them so they can shoot to kill, I do mean that. Drug dealers and killers need to be stopped, and we need to show seriousness on that level.
Question number 9, a 30-second response. Is government spending out of control? If so, what should be done to reduce it?
Yeah, there's no question. Government spending is way out of control. I've said it before, and I'll say it tonight here. I believe that our spending needs to be put back to 2008 levels, and 1% across the board each year for 8 years would balance our budget. And I believe that as we look at our departments, our federal departments, let's start with education. I think that one needs to be cut. There's no advancement of our children from the federal Department of Education. I do believe that the state can handle that as well as parents. So we should cut many of the departments as well as budget and balance it.
Question number 10, a 30-second response. What is the first piece of legislation you will personally offer?
Yeah, I've said this recently, and if you look at the IRS, back when Nixon was around, he merely suggested that the IRS should be used to look at his political adversaries. This president took the IRS and actually used it to attack his political adversaries. I believe it's time that we have impeachment charges brought. That would be the first thing I believe we need to work on when we get to Washington.
Question number 11, a 30-second response. On which committee do you feel you are best qualified to serve? Please explain.
With my time in the National Disaster Medical Response and in the military, I do believe that I would be able to offer a great deal of support in that regard in the military committee. Veterans, I believe our veterans do not have a voice in Washington right now. You've seen that they've cut their benefits. They need that voice back. Not only that, but I do believe with our petrochemical, I would be looking to get on the Energy Committee.
Question number 12. A 1-minute response. Please share your thoughts on amnesty for the estimated 12.5 million illegals in the United States.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I believe we need to complete the fence. We need to put our Border Patrol with the appropriate equipment and the appropriate lethality. I do not believe that illegal immigrants should be coming into our country. There is a system in place. They need to follow it. If the first thing someone does is illegal as they join a new country, that's not a good way to start. I do not believe in comprehensive immigration reform. It's just another way to do amnesty. It's my belief that what we do need is to make sure that we enforce the laws. We do not want to be a magnet state. I don't believe illegals should be getting welfare or free tuition or any of those things. I think we need to make sure that those folks who come here legally, that they are indeed encouraged to have that for everybody. But I do not believe in the comprehensive immigration reform bill, which I think this question is somewhat pointing at. So that's where I stand on it.
Closing comment. A 1-minute response. You will have 1 minute to offer closing comments.
Well, I want to take this 1 minute to thank you all for coming out tonight. A lot of folks come up to me and they'll thank me for the service that I've provided. Well, I want to thank you for the service you're providing to your country, coming out and getting to know about each of your candidates so you're making an informed decision on voting. My name is Colonel Jim Engstrand. I'm here tonight to ask you for your vote, and I'm here to earn your vote. Again, I always like to tell folks the way you remember my name if you're in the voting booth is it's Engstrand. It's like the first 3 letters of English, and then strand, like strand of hair, which I have none of. So I do appreciate you tonight, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.